Hospital ice.
I've thought about buying that, but it's those are rather expensive to get ones that can produce any quantity of ice.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember I was asking my friend was showing me his house. The guy who used to be the director at my old company, he made quite a bit of money, and he had this nice like $900,000 custom home built, and his family chose that he told them they can choose either the ice maker or the movie theater.
Mm.
And they chose the ice maker. And he said that that saved him a little bit of money, but not anywhere near as much as you would expect.
Yeah. See, I got part of the movie theater. I got my popcorn machine, but I didn't have to buy that. That was payment. I did a job. I wired up my buddy's house with Ethernet, and he gave me a popcorn machine in exchange. I did have to go through it and rebuild it, so I do have about $100 into it. But it's a $1,200 commercial machine.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
And we are live. We are streaming, so go ahead and the chat is available now.
Okay.
The VOD Squad. Live.
It was funny last summer. One of my buddies was over, and I had some people over who were barbecuing, and he comes outside and he goes, when it said it's really obvious that a single guy lives here when you open up the fridge and the only thing in there is Pepsi and Domino's. I was like, yeah, because I learned a long time ago, don't buy food in advance because it just sits in the fridge and goes bad. So I've learned to go to the store when
you need something
and get the things that I need. Don't buy stuff in advance.
Which is great. If you're close enough to a store, if it's not a
there's one right down the street.
Right. And generally it's well stocked, and if you have simple needs. So yeah, totally makes sense. And the other side of that coin is if you are, trying to make things work through a whole month and you're budgeting things out, and
that's
you
why
already have your meals planned.
That's why I have the deep freeze. I get that chest freezer because that stuff I buy a lot of frozen. That's why I have Costco and Sam's Club.
Costco is awesome.
And especially since I found the business Costco, and they've got the better selection of stuff because it's just the business stuff. So yeah, I've got my onion rings and mozzarella sticks and pizzas and all the stuff that I need for my fryer and my pizza oven. But yeah, the fresh and perishable stuff I buy as I need it. So you open my fridge, a lot of times it looks
pretty empty. Why is there something
in there?
Because I've got nothing to cook right now.
Yeah, butter. There's always butter. There's got to be butter.
There should always be butter.
Oh,
are you a salted butter guy or no unsalted butter guy?
Salted. And I just realized I am doing this wrong.
It's still
Hey, here we go.
Recording in progress.
And that means welcome to the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 254 on... Wait, are we still in September? Yeah,
Just for a little bit longer.
29th. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross,
It's almost over.
Michael Aston,
Howdy, y'all.
and Jimmy Tremmel.
Still in September. Badia.
So, Mike, it sounds like you got my voice from the last 2 weeks.
You gave him a disease over the internet, didn't you?
I
caught
gave him
the
a
internet
virus.
Yeah. No, I mean, you'll notice every once in a while my voice is like this just from my asthma acting up. It's allergy season here in Austin, which is to say that it's a time of the year. Yeah, so
it's the dead of winter. Is that a time when there's no when you have less allergies? You know, when there's like everything's frozen.
no, because we don't get freezing.
Oh,
It never gets
Okay.
cold. It never gets cold enough. Well, I mean, last year it did, but normally it never gets cold enough that you don't have plants growing and releasing pollen and stuff.
Is this
For
that
me,
cedar
this is-
fever?
I don't know if this is. Honestly, I have such bad allergies. I have no idea what time of year normal people get sick. But the thing for me is that it's actually a temperature now where I don't feel like I'm going to die if I'm outside for more than 30 seconds. I mean, I'm still, if it's sunny, I still feel like I'm going to melt because I'm a vampire allergic to the sun, but I can actually go outside without feeling like I'm going to die.
burning, raging ball of fire in the sky. Jeez, I hate that thing.
Yes.
Whatever. But it's fine. It's fine, I guess. Whatever.
You don't have to worry about that. What are you talking about, Matt? You live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's true. We do spend many months without being able to see the burning, raging ball of fire in the sky, and we wonder if it still exists. And when you think to yourselves, "Oh goodness, will we see it someday? Maybe someday. Maybe someday we'll see it again, and then we'll know that we're not that ball of fire has not burnt out in the sky." So, but that's it's a
honestly,
concern sometimes. Like, geez.
I kind of miss it. This sunny thing is kind of overrated.
Are you saying you like rain?
I miss the weather in Portland. Technically Vancouver. I don't know that I want to claim Portland right now. But I lived in Vancouver and I kind of miss
You
it.
can leave Portland to Wabbit.
Sure. No. I'm a big fan of the rain as well, and we have had a long dry spell actually until recently. It's been raining for off and on the last couple weeks now, and it's been really nice to have a little bit of any kind of moisture. So it's all good. Don't worry. Well, we're supposed to have a really wet winter this year, so yay.
Yay.
Well, my wife still occasionally complains that I duped her just because she remembers that Portland and really the whole Northwest there, Washington and Oregon, have some of the best summers that you'll find anywhere. Tends to be nice. It doesn't get too hot. It's still very green because of all the rain that the area gets. It's just a very beautiful place in the summer. And so when we first met, I had her come visit in the summer because, she lived in Utah. And so we met online and she came and visited. And she loved it. She was like, wow, this place is beautiful. I took her to the gorge and to Seattle and stuff.
Nice.
She thought it was all just so amazing. And then when she finally moved out, it rained 180 days straight. Not even kidding. And she's like, what have you done?
For those who get seasonally depressed, it sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that I'm not one of those people. I might get a little nuts, but I don't think that's the rain.
Yeah.
So sometimes the rain makes you less crazy. Little nuts instead of a lot nuts. Like most
I
of the
really,
time.
really love the sound of rainfall. It is great, and it does basically. I mean, I've got no problem with rain. Is if you just get used to wearing the right kind of gear, and it doesn't bother you. Get shoes that don't let the water through. So you got to have waterproof shoes, and you got to have a good hat. And you're good.
Well, we'll conclude this episode of This Week in Weather.
We always start with the weather, guys.
It's the Pacific Northwest report.
It's just the weather report. We always have we always tend to start with the weather report because you know what? Sometimes that's the news of the day.
It is.
It really is.
So our lives are so boring. That's the only thing we have to talk about.
No, it's not boring. We got things to talk about like NBC and YouTube TV. These guys are working out a little problem they've got. It's kind of like old times when the cable companies would be, and the providers would be having spits and spats. Remember, like satellite companies would be like, oh, you might lose this channel. Kind of a similar thing's happening here. NBC has reached out to YouTube TV and said, hey, we want you to start providing your users with access to a Peacock. And so instead of having access to our normal NBC Universal channels, there are several channels that they have that they pay for and is on the service. And in order to do that, basically that pushes people off of the YouTube TV interface into the Peacock interface for all the access to all that stuff. YouTube's like, no, we kind of like the fact that we just pay you for the channels just like anybody else, and then we just give them the feeds like channels like anyway else. That's what our model is. That's what we were trying to do. Well, apparently there's a little spat going on between them, and there might be a point here where those channels from NBC get pulled and will no longer be available to you. In the meantime, Google said, hey, if that happens, we'll reduce the price by $10 a month for the times that those channels won't be available. And you can go ahead and get it through Peacock if you want. So one way or another, either things are going to continue as normal, it's what we expected for a while, and we'll continue to get NBC channels for YouTube TV, or we're going to lose it and you're going to have a price reduction. And if you really want that stuff, you can get Peacock to get your stuff.
Okay. So I get that they're arguing over, basically NBC wants more money for the channels. YouTube doesn't want to pay it. I don't get the whole you must offer the Peacock bundle. I don't get that. Because it's not like it's Fire TV where they can integrate the service into the
every YouTube
feed.
TV interface.
I don't get it.
I think I agree with this article from Ars Technica, which is basically saying the NBC Universal really wants Peacock to be a success, big numbers. And so if they can somehow get all YouTube TV people to also be Peacock members, something that's big numbers for them, and look at how big this package is.
I get why NBC would want that. I don't understand why they would even expect YouTube to be in any way interested, because it's, hey, we'll sell you Peacock so that you can go to this other application and watch the channels that you would otherwise watch here, and why anybody would buy it from YouTube. That's where this whole thing falls apart for me. It just makes absolutely no sense.
It's
Go ahead.
It really is counter to the whole idea of the direct consumer streaming channel model that, Disney Plus and Peacock and what is the CBS All Access and stuff.
Paramount
All of
now.
those. What's that?
It's called Paramount now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, dang it. Sorry.
Paramount Plus.
But yeah, all of those things were created to provide a solution for consumers to get the content directly from the studio, the place that it's being made. And it conceptually makes a lot of sense, right? If I want Paramount, I can go there and get that from them. And that gets me those channels, those shows that I really liked. I can watch, Big Bang Theory related stuff, or Scorpion, or whatever shows they have, which none of them are still showing, by the way, that were good. And I'm getting what I ask for and what I want from the source. This completely circumvents that. I do agree. This is obviously a numbers thing for them. If they can make the numbers look big, they look like a big success. And there's no way anybody could see through that, especially not their investors and advertisers.
So help me remember, does NBC Universal own part of Hulu?
Yes.
A part of it, yes.
And they've been talking about leaving since Disney is in control of so much now.
And they're doing
I
Peacock
see.
now, so.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So then it's not the same as what it is with YouTube, because I know a lot of the NBC shows are on, because I recently started subscribing to Peacock, and I also subscribe to Hulu. And I noticed a lot of the same, shows are on both, right? So you don't get the original content, of course, with like what you get with Peacock, but
No Yellowstone.
Yeah, no Yellowstone, and there's a few others, but that's the big one, though.
I wanted to quote the story here exactly, quoting this story from Ars Technica. When contacted by Ars, a Google spokesman confirmed that NBC asked YouTube TV to bundle Peacock, and it said that NBC's demand would force subscribers to pay twice for the same content. So end quote. So in other words, you would still be able to get. Thanks, Google. Appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate that. You would be according to what NBC Universal wants. They wanted Google to pay for their normal streaming rights to still get the streaming over there, and have those users also have to pay for that, which is insane. At first, I was thinking, okay, so I thought when I was first read this is okay, so NBC Universal is asking them to have them drop the channels from the live feeds and the recording, but give them a quick button access to get that same stuff through into their app. And I kind of understood that, like, okay, you're pulling yourself out of YouTube TV, but you're getting yourself in, and you maybe a little bit of kickback gets back to YouTube because it's bundled as part of that. That kind of makes sense to me. This does not. This seems like trying to dictate over any provider that they have to also sell another piece in order to get their stuff, which does suck. And go ahead.
YouTube is negotiating with a crazy person.
And YouTube's response in an email is like, okay, if we lose the channels, we'll drop $10 off them.
To paraphrase, whatever you want, dude. Just whatever. Yeah, again, I don't get this. If I was already paying for YouTube TV, there is no way I would pay for a Peacock subscription on top of that.
Yeah, we don't.
Especially since I'm also paying for Hulu.
Yeah.
So then in my case, I'd be paying for the NBC content 3 times.
Right. Well, those guys at NBC Universal, they totally have the content it's worth paying for. Right?
Honestly, I can't think of a single thing on NBC that I watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. never mind.
Which is why I don't subscribe to Peacock, even though someday I would like to watch all of Yellowstone, but it's not enough for me to subscribe to the service at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to get me and my wife through that show so that I can cancel my subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had a couple of shows that I've watched in the past. I don't think they have anything that I watch anymore. Yeah, I mean,
there's some good shows there. There's some good shows there, but I mean, in Yellowstone being one of them, right? But for the most part, I think for the bigger audience, right? Just to Clyde's point, right? I mean, if you're subscribed to Hulu already, you know, and if you've watched Yellowstone already, then yeah, you cancel one or the other. Either you cancel Hulu or you cancel Peacock, one of the two.
Yeah, but Hulu's got all the FX and Fox and ABC, everything else. Yes, I'm not canceling that.
I think I would cancel Peacock. And again, once we get through Yellowstone, unless they come out with something else that's compelling, right, I'll probably end up canceling that, right? And maybe subscribe again when the new season of Yellowstone comes out.
Yeah. I think like Blacklist, and
that's a good one.
That's maybe one of the only ones that they've got that I've watched recently. And then before that, it was probably Miami Vice, the original.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think most of the various shows that are on NBC, there's not a lot of good stuff right now. I mean, so we tried watching Regular Joe, or whatever it's called, Average Joe. I could talk about that at Rants and Raves, I suppose.
Wait, was that I'm thinking of the Joe Schmo show.
No,
from the early 2000s. That was the one where it was a reality dating show, and he was the only person that wasn't in on the joke, that it wasn't really, it was like all fake.
Right.
That ended badly.
Well, I'll talk about that one at the Rants and Raves.
Wabbit made a good point there. He said, remember, NBC Universal is Comcast.
I assume that was in response to my saying they're negotiating with a crazy person.
Why would you say that? I don't understand why you would say that. No.
And when you think of it from that perspective, okay, this article makes perfect sense.
All right. Hey, let's talk about Netflix here for a little bit. Netflix went to what was it? Code Conference is one of those conferences that all the different streaming companies like to go to every once in a while. And they did something that I don't think have ever done before, or if they have, it's been a long, long time. They told us numbers. That's right. We actually got to find out some of the numbers of some of their most popular shows that are on Netflix for the past year or two. So they went ahead and gave us information about their most popular series and films, and they gave us information about how many minutes were watched or hours were watched, and how many and which ones that were the most popular. In particular, they said the most popular series. They gave us the top 10 list. The most popular series. And let's just talk about the top 3: Bridgerton season 1, Lupin Part 1, and The Witcher season 1, which had 82 million, 76 million, and 76 million respectively. The films, they had three. The top 3 were Extraction, Bird Box, and Spencer Confidential for 99 million, 89 million, and 85 million.
And you may as well go to number 4, which was Six Underground, which is one that I raved about a year ago. I rather enjoyed it.
Okay, well, these are pretty impressive numbers, and we've never really heard this. We hear this stuff very often, so it's good to actually see that this what's going on. I think it's funny that Tiger King is number 7 on the series list with 64 million. Man, people talked about that for so much. I'm surprised it's not number 1, because it was just, that was just crazy, guys. That was a social media moment for everybody.
Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that the Tiger King beat the Queen's Gambit.
They're oh yeah, I guess. No, I believe it, because I mean,
They're very close, 64 and 62 million,
Yeah.
respectively.
Yeah.
but the Queen's Gambit wasn't the social
Right.
moment that Tiger King was.
Right. Which
Tiger King was that perfect storm of something that
WTF
was
and
and
I need
pandemic,
content.
and I need content because I'm stuck at home all the time, right? It was very early in the pandemic, and it was everybody was, what in the world is this? It was very talk worthy. Lots of,
It was the cash. It was the cash me outside of 2020.
yeah.
now there's some people who took a issue to how they came up with these numbers. First of all, they only picked the first 28 days since the release of the film to count it as a view. They also counted it as a view if you watched at least 2 minutes of the show. And if you watched at least 2 minutes, that's a view. And so that's how they picked it. Now, very likely that's if you watch 2 minutes, you probably watched more than 2 minutes for the show. So, but it is interesting. 2 minutes, that might be just enough for me to go, nope, click.
I usually give it about 5 minutes and then I'm out. But that's been one of my complaints about Netflix all these years, is that I am incentivized not to try new stuff because I watch that first 5 minutes. I realize I hate it. It's forever in my, hey, you should finish watching this list. And I don't want that.
See, I mean, I think that it's nice that they also included hours viewed, because then you combine those two elements and you can really grasp and get a better picture. Now, you have to know a little bit too, right? Because, for example, Stranger Things 3 has more time viewed than The Witcher, even though The Witcher had more views. So then you have to ask, okay, well, was that just because Stranger Things 3 was a little longer runtime?
Yeah,
I believe it was. And so that would explain that. But then somewhere it was number 2 in viewing time versus number 6 in views, or number of accounts viewed. So, and number of accounts often will mean more than one person too. That's something else to remember.
Well,
that could be a family of people viewing.
That logic right there explains why The Irishman is not on the first list at all, but it is in the top 10 for the hours, because it's a 3+ hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's that?
The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's why it's number 3 for view hours, but it doesn't even show up on the list for the number of views.
Yeah. See,
how many people started that go, I don't want to watch this, click within under 2 minutes,
so,
might be a lot, who knows.
I'm just curious, of the top 10 series and films, how many has everybody watched in the series thing? I've watched Witcher and both of the only one Stranger Things is on there for that. So I've watched 2 of the top series, and I've watched 2 of the top movies in account views.
I've watched Spencer Confidential and 6 Underground for the movies. The Witcher. I watched a few episodes of Sex Life. I did watch the Stranger Things. I did watch the Tiger King. I did watch all of Queen's Gambit. And I watched the first episode of Sweet Tooth and realized I don't like it. So they counted me for that first episode.
For that one view. Yep.
Yeah.
And I did watch the whole episode. And I just realized that I don't think I'm ever going back to finish it.
Right. So you didn't, is that?
And notice that Sweet Tooth is not even on the list for time spent. And that's a series.
Right.
So, yeah. Stranger Things 2 is on the length.
And, I definitely watched every minute of both of the Stranger Things season and the Witcher season. So I've got 3 of those groups of views. all watched. And,
Yeah.
same thing. I'm the same count on by hours for films, and, because I watched Extraction and Spencer Confidential.
And then I did watch The Irishman. And I didn't have to watch The Kissing Booth because I got my daughter to explain the story to me. It was rather amusing because how just physically frustrated she got because of how stupid the story is. And I found that more entertaining than actually watching it.
What about you two?
Yeah, for me, I watched the first episode of The Witcher and couldn't get into it. Stranger Things, I watched the first season, not the third season. I did watch The Tiger King, and I did watch Queen's Gambit. Over on the movies, I watched Bird Box, really liked that one a lot. And I watched Army of the Dead. I think that was all the ones I watched.
The Witcher, it's like, if you haven't read the book or books,
which I haven't,
or played the video game, it's probably, I can understand it being hard to get into.
I didn't do either of those, and I was able to get into the show. I was very confused for a long time until I realized, oh, they're telling the story out of order. Thanks.
Yeah. See, having played the video game, and having familiarity with the books, I hadn't finished the book when I watched it, but the first book, but it follows the first book. This season follows the first book pretty well. So it's and the book does the same thing. The book doesn't tell you it's skipping back and forth in time, and it just skips back and forth in time, and
that's just bad story.
It's confusing, but I actually really enjoy, because it introduces more mystery than there really would be if you watched it in sequence. And so I actually kind of enjoyed that puzzle. I think it's definitely something that not everybody is going to like, though.
All right. Well, for me, it's a whole lot of nopes. Bridgerton, no. Lupin, no. Witcher, no. Sex Life, no. Stranger Things 3, yes. Money Heist, no. Tiger King, no. Queen's Gambit, no. Sweet Tooth, no. Emily in Paris, no. Same thing down the line for the films. The only one that I saw was Murder Mystery. Seriously, I don't watch Netflix that much.
Wait, which one was Murder Mystery?
That was the Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah, I watched that one.
That was genuinely hilarious and worth one view.
Yeah. I watched that one too. Oh, I didn't realize that was the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. With James Bond as the inspector, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right.
That was a good one.
But no, that was genuinely worth the one view. Absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
We all enjoyed that one very much. So
yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
I didn't see the Mitchells versus the Machines on this list, so I don't know what you're talking about here. So.
I think the real takeaway here is that we all enjoy something that they produce.
It's true.
But none of us enjoy a large percentage of what they produce. However, that's kind of all they need to do is, in most cases, is produce some stuff that you like, and you'll keep coming back. It's great that they gave us the numbers, though, because it is fun to look at them.
Yeah, and since it's been such a mystery, well, I'm sure people will make bigger comparisons with other streaming services. And no, they don't have to get you. They just have to get somebody in the household, because I know that my wife has seen a lot more of those shows than I have.
That's true.
So if I might not watch, my son watches all kinds of cartoons on there. So yeah, absolutely works fine. Hey, let's talk about the Xbox. The Xbox is, a pretty awesome gaming system.
They're still making that thing?
They are still making that thing, because everyone they make, they sell for way more money than it's worth, because supply and demand, Anyways, it's getting updates, and they've decided they're going to go ahead and update it with a new Edge browser. The new Edge browser is pretty cool. And the first thing people did with it, of course, see if they can play Stadia on it. And yes, you can play Stadia on your Xbox. That's right. Go ahead and use your at least $500 brand new Xbox.
I love
Series
that
X.
so much.
to play Stadia, a streaming gaming service.
And it's probably still better than Xbox game streaming live.
There's a story later on about that. So, yes, that I'm happy that the browser got updated. We need updated browsers on these things. B, that it's still compatible with Stadia, and they didn't try to make it so it wouldn't work on it. So that's cool. I'm all for it. Everybody get their Xboxes out and play their streaming games.
Can I ask the ignorant question here?
Of course.
Why do you need a browser on a gaming console?
To play Stadia? No. Actually, for real, it's because it's useful for those situations where, hey, there's either a website or web video that you want to show somebody on the big screen TV. For those reasons alone, it can be nice.
I think the biggest thing is that it's a very low lift for the console manufacturers, because they're already effectively building browsers for the interactivity with all of the web APIs that they're getting purchases and stores and things like that.
Technically, it's HTML all over those things.
Basically, you want to keep the player in that device. You don't want to give them any reason to go to another device and then get enticed away.
Though I gotta say, I on my old Xbox One, man, that browser was it wasn't particularly bad. It's just that's not a convenient way to interact with the browser. It's really pretty awful, genuinely.
This will allow you to add
pull my phone out.
This does have keyboard and mouse support.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and I think the Xbox One did as well, but it's just, I mean, if you're actually using it the way it's intended, then where are you going to put the keyboard and mouse when you're not using it? On your sofa so somebody sits on it? Anyways, the only really frustrating thing is that these things are still impossible to get. Yeah, I did have one of those. I used it with my Xbox One. Still not great, but definitely better than moving the pointer around by stick on your controller. It's just that these things are going for like $1,000, $800 to $1,000, and if you can find one, it's just like, come on, let's get this straightened out so people can buy them.
So I want to just briefly say my favorite browsing on a TV experience ever.
Web TV. Oh,
this is a Wii U controller. The reason why it's my favorite is because this is a touch screen, which allows you to move things around on the screen. You can scroll and all that jazz. You can do an on-screen touch with it, and you press a button on it, and this main screen, the big screen up there, closes a curtain, and then you get to what you actually want to show them. You press the button, the curtain opens up, which means they don't have to see all that other crap that you're doing to get to the thing you actually wanted to show them, which is genius, if you ask me. So my favorite browsing experience on a TV, Wii U did it right. But, Wii U did a lot of things right, but, it was dead on the vine before too long anyway. So that's it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about YouTube Music. YouTube Music announced that they were going to be getting an updated version of their app that was going to be coming out to the Wear OS 3 watches. So the new only Wear OS 3 watch that was out right away was the new Samsung ones that was in partnership with Google. But they did announce they were going to be working on making this the same YouTube Music app available on earlier operating systems. In fact, they've started rolling it out to some of the more niche market Wear OS 2 Wear OS 2 watches. Could not say that out there. You can now get it on some of your Mobvoi. How do you say that? The Fossil and the Michael Kors watches out there. You're able to get the new YouTube Music streaming app, which includes the ability for you to have offline listening to your music, no phone required, listen to over your Bluetooth headphones connected to your watch.
So this is in addition to originally when this came out, it was just on those Samsung watches.
Right. The
Yeah.
Wear OS 3. They're starting to backport it. And also they did mention that they're going to be getting it on other devices
That's cool.
that are running Wear OS 2 as well. So,
Well,
hey,
congratulations.
OS 2 was a great operating system.
Wear OS 2 was great. Yeah, absolutely. I was a big fan of OS 2 Warp. Absolutely.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Well, did I miss a story? I think I missed a story.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and get that story I missed. Sorry, guys. Hey, let's talk about another streaming service and their numbers. Apple TV Plus has somebody got their streaming numbers. How did they get their streaming numbers? It looks like they have less than 20 million subscribers. That's a lot lower than what people were hoping for this service.
How many of those less than 20 million are actually paying?
With their getting free amount counts with keep buying their iPhones and iPads and things like that. That's a good question. I don't know. But it
10%.
It isn't a bad amount really for a fairly new service, but it is admittedly not as much as they were hoping it would be. So they are working on increasing these numbers. I understand Apple's possibly throwing their money down to get access to like the NFL channel or NFL streaming. So when it becomes available, they might be working to get that. So you'd have to get the only place you can get it is an Apple TV Plus kind of thing. So I don't know.
That's the rumor, but
that is.
Even if it's only 15 million or whatever. I mean, that's pretty good for somebody that's only been in the business less than 2 years.
That's going up against Disney that was like at a 100 million within the first 3 months.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, but Disney's been making content for decades. Apple's
That's true.
Been doing it for less than 2 years.
That is absolutely true, and it is it is a
still-
slight
I
unfair
had
advantage.
to draw that comparison because they launched at the same time.
Almost the same.
Yeah,
time.
they did.
Yeah.
But one's been creating content for decades, and the other one are almost a century.
Well, you can't blame
almost.
them for that.
And then Apple's only been doing it for less than 2 years.
Well, that's
Yeah.
their own damn
I
fault.
mean, if you compare it to somebody like Fubo that doesn't have original content, I mean, Fubo's under 1 million. So it is a pretty decent number for the length of time. We'll just have to give it more time to see if it can really get off the ground, though.
I mean, I'll admit when it first came about, and I think we even said this on the show, right? And I'm probably the biggest Apple fan here, right?
Nah, I doubt it.
But even I said, okay, the shows are pretty good and all, but am I going to pay for it when it comes time to pay for this subscription? At first I said, yeah, probably not, but I'll wait and see. And here we are. I am actually paying for it now. Of course, it's bundled in with some other services that I get too.
Yeah.
One being 2 terabytes worth of storage, right? But I am paying for it. I am enjoying the shows. Ted Lasso, great show. Won 7 Emmys or something like that, right? So I'm not too concerned about it being less than 20 million subscribers.
Well, and that's why I wanted to know about what do they consider a subscriber? Because someone with a free subscription is by definition a subscriber. And I don't think that is a legitimate way to measure, because just because someone has a free subscription doesn't mean they actually use it. Right. They are still technically a subscriber, but they should not be counted. I want to know how many people are actually using it. And I would. What's that?
I'm a subscriber to Spotify, but I don't use it.
Exactly. And which is why it would be disingenuous for them to list you in that number of,
but I'm sure they do.
To show their popularity. But that's my criticism is I want to know how many people are actually using it, because you get your free thing and then you go, oh, I don't like any of this, and you never come back. So what is the actual user base?
I mean, it's not going to compare to people who's been in this business for
No, no, no,
taking
no,
or
no. I'm not comparing it.
being-
I just want to know. I just want to know what that number actually is.
That's what the article is.
Yeah, this article is mainly there to poke fun.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to know, but Apple did this accounting thing, I think a couple of years ago or something like that. It might have been 3 years ago. Yeah, because they used to come out with the numbers every quarter when they do the quarterly earnings, right? They'd say, oh, we sold X amount of iPhones, or we sold X amount of Macs, and that kind of thing. And so now they don't do that. They just say how much revenue and profit they had per line of business.
Yeah,
is what they do. So they don't. Is that because it's too hard to keep track of, or it's a way to cut costs because it takes too much to do that accounting? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'm sure Apple probably does know. I mean, they got.
Oh, of course they do.
Right? I mean, that's why you have all these big, these data science setups and everything like all these companies have.
The whole point of this article is the fact that for the last 20 years, Apple has been beating everybody over the head and crowing that, hey, everything we touch turns to gold. We can't fail. Everything we do is perfect and we're number one. And then so this is the result of that, where they're poking back. If this was any other company, we would be saying, holy crap, look at this. Good for them. They're doing, they've got 20 million. Whereas because it's Apple, who supposedly, sets the bar of excellence for everything, and they can't even reach the lowest bar set by other. That's why this article is written the way it is.
I think that's the spirit of the article.
Yeah, exactly.
That definitely right. But I mean, hey, to be fair, I can understand that point of view. I'm not saying that the person that wrote the article doesn't bring up some good points. They do, right? But when you it just depends on what perspective you look at it from. And like to your point, right? If this was any other company outside of Apple, they'd say, "Oh man, this is great," right? I mean, it's like what I think Mike just did the analogy. Fubu would love these numbers, right?
Oh, sure.
So,
yeah, but I mean, and like I was talking about earlier, I want to know the numbers without spin, just for my own curiosity. Not that it matters, not that they're gonna put it out, because it's not gonna be a pretty number. But I am just curious, just for the raw data.
Yeah, I don't know if they just don't release those numbers, but there's a lot of companies out there that
they
revenue.
Like Netflix, they only release those numbers when it allows them to brag. It's the only reason on that previous story. It's the only reason they put out those numbers is, hey, everybody, look at us.
We got lots of numbers. Look at our numbers.
If the Apple numbers were even better, then they would have been doing it a long time ago.
Yep.
True enough. Right? So, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, I wouldn't label this a failure either, right?
No.
But at the same time, I think in the article, and I think they made the point in here. One of the good points that they made was, they were hoping that the numbers might be 40 million. Right, or something like that.
Well, that's what it was predicted at the end of last year.
Right.
Was supposed to have been 40 million in the U.S. alone.
Of course,
but
Apple never said that. That was just somebody.
That was speculation from the industry.
Yeah, and that's this is actually a really good point though, because they could have left that out there and people would have continued to think that they were in that 40 million range and, probably think that's gone up and up and up. And they've kind of course corrected that, which I think is helpful. It probably is something that they released preemptively, would be my guess, because they are probably sharing those numbers with enough people, advertisers and content creators, that they expect some of them to get out. So it's better to just release them and look good for being transparent than it is to just have that leaked eventually. That's my theory.
I think it's an excellent theory. But I am going to move on to the next story. All praise the Saint Carmack. Please, everybody, save it with me. Praise Saint Carmack. He is a wonderful, amazing, saintly person. He had the three miracles of John Carmack was Doom and Quake and making the Oculus Go platform available for anyone. That's right. He has made an announcement because he is actually working for Facebook and the Oculus program. Has the head technology officer and has been working really hard to make that a really well-rounded, powerful platform for everybody. He's announced that the Oculus Go, the first version, Oculus Go 1, it's a now discontinued product. It's not for sale, but they're going to be releasing a firmware update for it, which fully opens up that software. It allows you to sideload apps, allows you to get root access to it, allows tinkerers and developers of all kinds to use this device however they want to or need to, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So, all praise the Carmack!
Except not really.
What?
Because you still have to log in with a Facebook account.
Well, probably somebody who does somewhere in order to download the thing. But no, after it gets root access, I guarantee you someone will flash it so you don't need to do that anymore. That'll be the first thing people do. You know that. Give it time. All praise the Carmack.
Will be able to tinker directly with it. So I think that
it's going away. Trust me.
This is basically Facebook saying these aren't being used. They're not helping us anymore. So let's let people get some use out of it. I think it's pretty great. Hopefully this is, as the article said, becomes a new model for obsolete hardware.
This is the model that all obsolete hardware should have, quite frankly. Thank you very much. I should be able to get my Roku 2, from eons ago and be able to flash whatever the hell I want on it. Their final operating system update should be, this is the last update. We unlock the firmware. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. That would be awesome. Thanks. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I do agree, this is a big accomplishment and a really great move by John Carmack. He indicated that this has been a tremendous effort that has taken far longer and far more work than you would expect or conceive of for this kind of thing. And I think it's pretty exciting.
Rock on.
All right. So next story we have is Google Stadia. They've got a new update coming out for it, which will allow you to use your phone as a gamepad while you're playing on your TV. Only works with specific players right now, like the Roku Ultra or Google's own the Sabrina, Chromecast with Google TV thingamabobbo, and some Android TVs. But it does allow you to hook up your device as a controller, which is really aimed at basically allowing you to have easy multiplayer on these displays. At least that's what they're claiming it's for. Which actually, for some games, hey, pull out your phone and start playing kind of thing with couch co-op on a streaming service. That could be really a lot of fun. I think it's cool.
I like this idea. The problem is that controllers are tactile.
Tactile.
Exactly, tactile.
They're tactical? Tactical controllers?
They're tactical. So in order to use, the complicated button layout that's on the picture, in order to use that, you need to be looking at your hands to figure out where your fingers need to be. And if you're looking at your hands, you can't see what you're doing on the screen, so it's counterproductive.
Yeah, the image that's provided on the story of Destiny definitely not a viable approach to playing Destiny. Like Matt said, certain games this would work for. Definitely not going to be playing your FPS on this.
Yeah, if it's something where it's more like sliding around kind of interaction, then yes. But like a traditional gamepad layout with lots of buttons, yeah, I don't think that would work so well. You're better off just connecting an actual controller. But I am looking forward to this. Is available on the Roku Ultra, so I'll have to try it.
Oh, really?
I think one of the things
you said. Chromecast Ultra, not Roku.
Chromecast Ultra. Never mind. I thought you said Roku.
Don't think so.
I'm pretty sure you said Roku. And
if I did, I apologize. I could have said that.
I do have the Google TV, so I can try it there.
Okay.
So
I guess
a couple of things that I think is worth mentioning is that I think the first thing is that there are some games that this would work rather well in. Something like
Bomberman,
traditional style role-playing games,
sure,
turn-based type things. I think that would work really well. And honestly, it kind of makes me think maybe in the future we will see games designed to work this way. So effectively you get like a Wii U type setup where you have a Nintendo DS type setup where you could have your phone provide interactivity in such a way that it's you're actually using the screen to present dynamic controls.
This reminds me of the Intellivision. If you guys remember, each game came with a card, and you would slide the card into the controller because each game had different button layout.
Right.
And that little card slid in to show you where the buttons were. And that's essentially what you can do with the phone. You don't have to slide a card in that does it on the screen. And yeah, as long as the button layout is simple, I think this is the future. This is what we need.
Or maybe what would be slick, because what little bit I know about gaming, right? But I know that the controller layout, like on a Sony versus an Xbox, there's differences, right? So would this be able to lay it out at your choice? Like I want the Sony layout or I want the Xbox layout. I don't know if it does or not, but
possibly
I think that's what a lot of gamers would.
Yeah, there's no reason that you couldn't customize the layout exactly the way you want it, which button goes where and how it's organized. I mean, obviously in the picture they show like a traditional layout, but there's no reason that they wouldn't be able to accommodate that. So like I said, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that doing it on the phone, if it became a major focus of gamers of game companies to identify ways to use it, you could do some cool stuff like a fully customizable controller, like you're saying, dynamic controls for the setting and the situation in the game. There's all kinds of things, but no matter what, Clyde's also right that this would never replace a controller for things like FPS or whatnot, because you got to have that tactile and very ergonomic specific setup for the speed.
Otherwise you don't know where the buttons are, and you're trying to push a button and your finger's in the wrong place and you have no way of knowing.
At the same time, there are plenty of users who are not gamers and just hand them a controller and they already don't know where the buttons are. They have to look down to press buttons.
It would be
that
even
level
worse.
Of player, this is fine. Okay. Also, I think there are plenty of situations where, if you can get like 100 people, not 100, but a lot of people in the room and get a big 8-player game of some kind where, like a Jackbox party game where you can get a lot of people to play this way. This could be pretty cool, I gotta say.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Jackbox certainly does exactly that already. And it's a great way to interact with them. I love our family loves to play the Jackbox games. We use it directly in our Fire TV, and That's how it gets on the screen. And so, yeah,
Cool.
lots of good options.
Hey, you guys remember Skype?
Yeah, I remember we stopped using it because it was gray and ugly, and I didn't want to look at it anymore.
Oh, was that the problem? Not, performance issues?
Well, there
or,
was that kind of stuff too.
wasn't updated in years, really, and kind of Microsoft felt like they were abandoning it for.
It was
teams.
updated all the time, except
it's true.
you couldn't afford to upgrade because once you did, you introduced all kinds of problems.
That's true. It did kind of break things, didn't it?
Every single thing broke things even worse.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, we got a new version of Skype coming. Hey, so Skype is getting an update that it makes it much more colorful and bright and easy to use. It's got a very, very pastel kind of theme, which kind of makes sense with the Skype logo being a bright blue kind of thing. It's got us updates to performance. They've fixed a lot. I mean, they're claiming some big performance gains, and some of these numbers are ridiculous, like a 2,000% performance improvement, which is okay. On Android phones, it's like, okay, I believe you.
So that means that it's now probably about 30% of the performance of the Zoom.
Maybe. They've added some new features, like they've got a grid layout now that will not let you or it gives you the option to keep people on the screen in the same location even if they turn off their cameras, which could be useful in some cases, I suppose. But if they turn off their cameras, it just shows you their a little background with their initials in that spot. It's got a feature called Twin Cam, which allows you to take a second device that has the Skype app, launch it, and add it as a second video feed, which actually I could see that as being useful. I want to show you this thing. I'm going to show you with my phone. Okay, here's the thing I was showing you. It's really cool. Now I'm done. Stop. And, that's kind of a cool feature, if you ask me. The ability to connect to Skype without any kind of installation of any software. So they've got an HTML version of launching Skype now. A lot of little updates to this. It's almost as if they don't want Skype to disappear, like it has been for the last, I don't know how long.
I gotta tell you, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I use video conferencing every day for the remote workers at my work, for other companies that we interact with in town and across the country. And I don't remember the last time I heard anybody mention Skype. So it has completely lost its touch with the business community, I think.
We'll make a point to point out we pay to use Zoom.
Yeah, this is true.
Just leave it there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to say though, while Skype had issues, it wasn't awful in my opinion. And some of these are pretty cool features. So I do like two things about this. First of all, nice to see innovation going on anywhere, but this kind of innovation, new features that we don't see in other platforms, is a huge win for the user, because that kind of stuff is likely to start showing up in other sources too. So
okay, let me give Skype some praise for back when it was the day. When it worked well. The problem was when it didn't work, it went to crap.
So you're saying when it worked well, and that was before Microsoft acquired the company, right?
Oh, that quite frankly, I don't think I ever used it before it was acquired by Microsoft. I mean, when we, like, for example, when we were using it and we had good connections and everything was working, it sounded good, it looked good, the video feeds were nice and clear. I like that integration with the streaming software that it could do. I mean, it did some pretty cool things. I didn't like the ringing / calling interface and random people calling me during the day, and having the account system sucked. And when it was not working very well, it crashed hard.
Yeah.
Streams would crash and people would crash. It was bad.
In the 2+ years that we've been using Zoom now, I have never once said I miss Skype.
That's true. Zoom has been remarkably stable, which is impressive, I gotta say. It's very
To me, it's a little surprising that Microsoft came out with this update like this, especially now since they're pushing Teams, right? In the business world, everybody's using Teams now, right? But I agree with what Mike said. You know, it's good to see them make this update and add these features in.
Oh, Clyde, you can't leave it there. What do you think of Teams? Okay, you can leave it there now.
Absolutely hate Teams.
I use whatever the other people are using. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I'll send you a link to a video. I mean, I've used completely off the wall ones, and we're like, hey, this works fine. It's fine.
We lost
WebRTC for the win, guys.
I mean, I loved Cisco's Jabber with the WebEx integration.
Oh yeah. That was a while ago.
WebEx is still integrated into Outlook, so I can still do WebEx meetings.
Yeah.
But yeah, just Teams in general, I just absolutely hate. I hate everything about it.
Teams is okay for chatting and that kind of thing, but if I'm going to do like a screen sharing session or something like that, to me, GoToMeeting is the top of the line.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I liked the Teams chat interface that I had at Q2 better than the Zoom chat interface I have now. I thought Teams had some better features. It definitely wasn't as user friendly. Like you could edit previous posts, but you had to do it with special character codes and stuff. And so it was almost like the terminal version of a chat client versus like Slack, but nowhere near as good as Slack, better than what Zoom offers. Zoom, of course, is a great chat, a great communication platform for video and voice and stuff, but it is not, I don't like the chat client. So Teams is okay, but you know, as far as Skype,
nobody's buying Zoom to use the chat function.
No, we use it because we use it for our VoIP and chat and everything. So it is honestly better than what we had before. I don't remember what it was. Maybe Pigeon, probably not even a Pigeon.
Open source stuff. There you go.
Yeah, it was whatever it was. It was not good though. I did not like it.
Hey, so Xbox players, if you've been wanting to be able to play your Xbox games and enjoy that expensive Dolby Vision HDR TV, you have good news. And now more than 100 games are going to come out being optimized to be working on in that HDR format. That includes games like the new Halo Infinite. So these games are all going to be updated in order to get, access to the 12 bits of color and the 10 bits of black and themes. And they're working on getting some of these TVs to work with 120 hertz video frame rate. So you're going to be able to get this new high-end Dolby Vision HDR content from your video games soon.
Sweet. I never got a chance to finish Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
It's just been sitting on my shelf for the last 10 years.
Which system? I think that's
Xbox.
Okay, well, they originally came to the 64, Nintendo 64.
I don't know.
I think it was originally 64.
I was introduced to it on the Xbox.
I believe it was one of Nintendo's very rare R-rated games on that system.
That is a great game. So is it worth the $1,000+ to get this system so that I can finish playing that game?
No.
Okay, never mind then.
Just play it. That's fine.
Well, I don't have an Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I've got the game still, but I don't have any Xboxes.
No, just wait. One will come up cheap, but somebody on Facebook will sell it to you cheap because they'll get the new one. Amazon had an event and they showed off a whole bunch of devices, and I decided to pick one device to look at real quick here. Amazon does have a brand new version of the Echo Show. It's called the Echo Show 15. It's a smart display, but it's designed to be like a picture frame on your wall. So it's a fairly large device, 15 inches, I believe, and it will fit either landscape or portrait mode. It's a 1080p display, has a camera in the corner, and lets you have a pretty large, display for calendar events and reminders and apps and a bunch of stuff. Watch videos on it. It's a pretty big display.
It called the 15 because it's to the point where it's capable of holding a conversation, but it still can't drive.
It's angsty now. That's what the problem. It's starting to get angsty. You have an appointment at 2 p.m. It's got to have that huff in it there too. Okay, fine. I'll turn on the lights. Why don't you turn on the lights yourself? You late. I don't wanna.
I get it.
I didn't see the announcement, but you know what would be good with this device is if they have a magnet on the back so you can stick it to the refrigerator.
They should. You probably still would need to have a wire coming from it.
There is a mod you can do to do that.
Is that right?
What it entails is going down to the hobby store, buying magnets and glue, and then installing it. I can create if the community buys one of these, I'll create a video demonstrating how to do the mod.
Very nice, sir. Very nice. Just curious.
And then we'll send it to Mike because he's the only one that's going to want to use this in the end.
Do you use the little tiny magnets, or do you use larger ones?
It depends. It'll depend on what the back of the device is.
How much does it weigh too?
Yeah.
I think this is pretty cool. Kind of like I've got an Echo Spot, the little round one, and conceptually,
when I see a
bought
doctor about that,
I thought, I thought I might, use it because I thought it would be cool, and it's not. Yeah, I don't use it at all. I occasionally look at the time. So while I feel like it looks cool and the setups they have that are perfectly organized and stuff look cool, but my suspicion is this is one of those things that you buy because you're excited about a new technology and then you don't ever use, except you use it just like you would an Echo Dot that you had in the same room.
Yep, I've got that Google Home Hub thing with the screen. It's in the kitchen. Actually, nope. Right now it's disconnected, sitting on a speaker in my living room because where it was kind of taking up space in my kitchen, it got replaced by a pizza oven. I actually used that. That poor hub, it would light up every time I came near it. Like, are you actually going to talk to me? Are you going to talk to me? And then I would walk away and it'd go, oh, and it would go back to dim screen. And nobody around. I've never found a use for the thing. The home I've got in my bedroom, that's only there because there's no light switch in that room. So I use it to turn on and off my bedroom light. But also, Google Assistant gets super confused because it's like, hey, you use this command a lot. Would you like to set up recommendations based on this command? It's like, no, I'm turning on and off my light. Yeah, I don't know. This stuff looks cool, but I don't know how to actually implement it in a meaningful way.
Okay, well, Eric, next door is Amazon and Disney have gotten together and they've decided to make a new version of the voice assistant. No, you're not going to be asking Alexa to do anything. No, Alexa, I didn't ask for you.
Chewbacca? What?
No, you will say, "Hey Disney," and this is the new assistant that will be helping you while you are at the Disneyland resorts. You will be able to use this inside your, like in your hotel room or other places, I'm sure, where you will be able to be using the Amazon's Alexa technology to ask, "Hey Disney," for it to do certain things for you, including things like telling you cool Disney stories, telling you things like the weather, the normal stuff you would ask an assistant. but also things that are specific to your room, like you could ask for like, I need more towels or things like that. It's supposed to be able to handle that stuff for you. So that's right. Yeah, you'll be in your room and you can just ask for a bedtime story, and you'll have
it'll be read to you by R2D2 or Chewbacca. I mean, they're in the picture at the top. I want Chewbacca to give me driving directions.
I think that would be great. I mean,
is that left? It's like, okay.
I love that idea. But honestly, I'm torn here because honestly, we're a big Disney family. We like Disney. We go to Disney World a lot. So I could see doing this. My only concern is we don't really know very many people named Alexa. But so we don't say that very often, but we say Disney all the time. So I imagine this thing would be going off constantly because it would just hear something that sounds kind of like hey and Disney.
Yeah, I
just feel like it would go off all the time.
It's much like my home hub goes, or my Google Mini thing. It goes off all the time from stupid things that aren't even, like my phone right now is freaking out because it got triggered by the thing that's in the other room. I don't know. And I assume that since this is only at the resort in the hotel, the place, you're probably not going to be saying the word Disney a whole lot when you're at Disney.
No, of course not.
Because you're not going to be like, hey, let's do the whatever. Bob, you're going to be referring to other stuff. So I feel like that is a fairly safe keyword there.
Honestly, I think this is great. I like the idea of having these in my hotel rooms when I go to Disney, because that's one of the things we miss whenever we travel is our Echo devices. We sometimes take one with us, and sometimes we can get it to work with the hotel Wi-Fi and stuff. But this will be nice. And honestly, when I see the picture that they attached to this with the Echo Show with the Mickey ears and stuff, I love it. I want that. So
well, you
maybe
can.
I'll get an Echo Show.
So it says that's a OtterBox.
Yeah.
It will be available. It's available for pre-order right now for $24.99.
Right. So I'm suddenly wanting an Echo Show because I think that's cool.
Yeah. I guess the Hey Disney Assistant will be available in the Alexa Skill Store in the US starting in 2022.
Oh, great.
I think Cruz has the right ideas. Why not Hey Jarvis?
I wouldn't mind having Jarvis or any number of robotic companions. Absolutely.
I think that would be the grand ultimate best. Voice
I think GLaDOS would be more my style.
I like that.
I want her to vaguely threaten my life at every request I make of her. That sounds great.
I appreciate that, but I love Jarvis, and I think that would be great.
Oh, whatever you do not get driving directions from Dory. Because I'm pretty sure they will intentionally tell you the wrong stuff.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
All right. We have a new update here from the guys at Microsoft. They have the Xbox One or Xbox Series X and Series S. There are people who are on the insiders and the lists, the beta testers, essentially. They're getting a select few of them are getting access to the Xbox Cloud gaming features finally on this app. That's right. Sure, you can play any Stadia game you want inside the Edge browser, but if you're a lucky few, you might be able to play some of these Xbox games on an Xbox. That being said, it is still in beta. There's still a lot of things that are broken, that aren't working well. Like there's no way you can buy in-game items right now. There's no way. There's a couple of problems with some of the external drive stuff for your Xbox. Little things that are still broken. A couple games aren't going to be available out right now, like the Halo Master Chief Collection is noted as one of the games that isn't currently working on it. But this is still a beta, so it makes sense. They're going to still be fixing this stuff out.
So Google officially added streaming games to the Xbox before Microsoft could.
Yeah, officially no, but in reality,
yes. they did, because
yes.
Stadia works, and I guarantee it's probably much better than this beta thing.
Truth be told, I have not seen how good the games are on the Xbox Cloud service, so I don't know which one's better. But I you know what, I would be happy to be like they're about the same. That would be perfectly fine with me, and that's good. There's a lot of good games on that service. So
they've been promising this Xbox Cloud thing for over a year now,
and it's available on lots of systems. Android, got it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking specifically for the Xbox monolith, whatever they call that stupid looking
Series X, sir.
That's even worse. They should have just called it like the shoebox. That's still a better name.
I think it's an okay looking console. I like that it's understated, essentially. I like it. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I think it looks better than the PS5.
Exactly what I was saying. Yep.
All right. And with that is the stories of this week.
All right, and that brings us to the point in the show where we like to say thank you. Thank you to those of you that support this show via patreon.com by giving us your hard-earned money.
Hey, what if it's not hard-earned? What if it was really easily earned?
I honestly, I don't care how they got the money as long as they give it to us.
Okay, gotcha. So it's not that it is hard-earned, it's just that it is money earned easily.
I'm just going to, for benefit of doubt, assume that they worked for that money,
right? I understand the assumption.
Like some big money man out there just handing out money.
Hey, I understand that. I really do. I just want to make sure we're not discriminating against those who are giving us money that is not hard earned.
Yeah. No, I don't care. I don't care how you got that money.
I'm good.
Did you work 40 hours at the steel mill? Did you make $50,000? I got it in a birthday card.
I can't give it to you. I didn't earn it.
Did you make $50,000 by ruining a commercial shoot by having ladies, having hookers pretend to be dead in the trunk at the car dealership? I don't care. I don't care how you got that money. The fact that you gave it to us,
earned right there.
the fact that you gave it to us is what is important. And if you have some extra money laying around that you don't quite know what to do with, and you want to do something with it that's slightly better than just setting it on fire, head on over to patreon.com/thevodsquad. And on that note, let's get into some rants and some raves. All right, rants, raves. Go.
I'm going to start with the things that I have been watching this last week, which was a lot. Did I mention the week before that I watched Lower Decks? I've been watching Lower Decks. That's all I'm going to say there.
Okay.
And it's been great. And I've also picked up and started watching some of started on the What If series from Marvel.
Okay.
And that's been great. And I've started watching the Star Wars Visions anime. That's the Star Wars stuff from Disney that's been put out this week. And that's been pretty great. And that's all good stuff. And so I recommend all those. If you are in any way interested in any of that stuff, it's good stuff. No problems. Just enjoy yourself. It's really good to watch. Now I want to talk about Regular Joe for a second. We tried to watch Regular Joe. If you don't know what Regular Joe is, it's a NBC show that is, hey, what if at this one point in time, Joe decided to take one of three paths. Down this path, he decided to follow his father's life and his grandfather's life and become a cop. If he goes down this life, he becomes a rock star, and if he goes down this path, he became a doctor. And and which, you know, it's a drama. It's talking about the various things that are going on. The problem is not this, you know, hey, it's Ordinary Joe. Sorry, did I call it Regular Joe? Ordinary Joe is the name of the show. The problem is that they're telling all these stories at the same time, and they're all intertwined in a way. They'll show you a thing, and the one thing that they do that's nice is that one of them is literally everything's green tinted, like the Matrix was green tinted. One is blue tinted. One is red, kind of orangish red tinted. So it's easy to tell which multiverse you're in, kind of thing. But the fact that you're trying to keep track of three things at the same time, we got 2/3 of the way through that first episode, at which point I said, we have to stop. This is going to be impossible for them to keep on going and keep this in any way something I want to keep listening. I mean, I might be interested in watching one of these kind of timelines because something interesting is happening, but three at the same time was mentally not exhausting, but I got interested in one of the timelines and not in the other two. It's like, okay, I don't want to know what's going on over there. That's not exciting. What's happening here? And I felt like I wanted to watch one of these three shows, not all three. So maybe somebody out there is going to think this is awesome. And maybe if this was formatted differently, where it's like, we're going to just, this one episode's going to be this timeline, and this episode's this timeline, this episode's this. I think I might have liked that better. But how they're intermixing it through the show, I'm not a big fan.
This reminds me. Did you ever see the movie Mr. Nobody?
No.
It's Jared Leto. It's from like 2010-ish. I think you might like it. So the premise of the story is that when a baby is born, there is a physical change that the body goes through, so that, you know, as you go through life, you've got your parallel universes and you make different decisions. You go off and, you know, everything branches out, right? Because of there's that chemical change in your brain when you're born that you don't remember, that you don't know about those other changes. Well, this guy remembers all. So he remembers all of the possible, all the alternate lives and choices. And, you know, when you come to a street, you turn right, you turn left. He remembers both, and the lives that were, and it's really cool the way they explore back. And it's kind of like what you're talking about there.
Okay.
And they go through several different versions of his life.
It's told it's told as a story, and they stop and do a part of that as an exploration of that, and then they come back to a central timeline kind of, because it's kind of set up. It's in the future, his present day, and he's like giving an interview and then kind of referring back and telling. Okay, so story, if it's referring back to a single, you know, a thing that's going on, but I don't know. Ordinary Joe and how it does this, I'm not a fan. I mean, I really don't know how well it's going to work in the long run. I feel like it's
and that's why I was saying, if you don't like that specific detail, but you like the other stuff about it, the premise, then you might want to check out Mr. Nobody.
I'll take a look at it.
It's on Vudu and Hulu Prime for free.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it is, if I remember right, it is pretty family safe, but you might have to look at it.
It's R, so
I'll check it out.
That's why I said pretty, not completely. I remember there's probably some language. I don't really remember any nudity, but yeah.
It's fine. I'll check it out. All right. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Mike?
You know, I have not. My in-laws have been visiting, as you heard a little bit from my brother-in-law last week when we were doing the show. So I haven't watched a lot of stuff other than football and whatnot, but Boise State football is on, so I'm enjoying that, and just started the new season of Masked Singers. So enjoying that as well. Really not a lot of good feedback to give this week. So,
Okay. Rock on. Jimmy?
So there's this new show on Apple TV Plus. It's called The Foundation. It's science fiction. I'm only one episode in, but hey, it looks promising. It looks pretty promising. I mean, like a lot of these shows, they had to do a lot of character setup and that kind of thing in the first episode, and all, and a lot of the actors in there that you see in there, you'll recognize them from other things, or most of the actors, maybe not all the actors, but it's very futuristic, very science fiction. Kind of a good versus evil kind of thing. We have to deal with our overlords seeing over us, right? That kind of thing. There is an empire. I'll give that much away.
So far, sounds like every sci-fi ever.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's based off of Isaac Asimov's Foundations.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Every sci-fi ever is based off of this.
Fair enough.
Well,
Okay.
no.
Sorry.
Correction. Because he had other series. There was the robot series. So
True.
much of anything robot related is based off the robot series. There is points where the two series do cross over. You have Robots and Foundation, or Robots and Empire and Foundation, where the three of them do cross. But yes, get back to what you're saying, Jimmy.
Isaac Asimov's basically the godfather of sci-fi, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, so this show's showing a lot of promise. I would want to watch, at least a couple more episodes before I'd pass full judgment on it. But so far so good. I enjoyed the first episode. I know there's at least a second episode there. I just didn't have time to watch it when I watched the first episode. But yeah, this looks promising.
Yeah, keep us informed. That's one of those that. One of the few that I've seen where I really wanted to watch it that Apple TV has exclusive. And if it turns out to be good, I might be willing to subscribe to Apple TV for a bit to be able to watch it, because it's the kind of stuff I like.
I mean, Ted Lasso is one of those shows, and this might be a second one, to where even if you don't like anything else, right, you could subscribe long enough to watch those shows, right, and then cancel after that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed when they announced this. Because, like I said, there are 3 different series. And pretty much everybody is divided into 3 groups. You were either you either read Foundation, you read Empire, or you read Robots. And not very many people did all 3 or combinations. I didn't know about all that. I stumbled into his robot series and I read a bunch of them. And I remember there was one book that I didn't understand. I think it was called Robots and Foundation. And it was like a crossover. And I remember I hated that book. And it was years later that I found out, because they introduced the Ardeniel Oliva robot character into the Foundation world, and that Foundation world I just did not enjoy. Had they done Robot or even Empire, I think I would be very, very, very interested, but I don't know. I don't really have.
Yeah, one of the main characters is Jared Harris. He's the guy that he played in Mad Men. He also was like the main character in the mini series of HBO Chernobyl, right? So good actor. I think I've liked him in everything I've seen him in. So, and he's in this one too, doing a good job, at least on the first episode. So yeah, if you like science fiction, and all, this would be a good one to check out, I think.
Okay.
Very cool.
Rock on.
Mhm.
Well, there's a few things that I'm watching right now, but if you remember back a few weeks, I mentioned the show Goliath and how we were talking about how Amazon was, or how I think we were talking about how some shows they're basically getting killed after 3 seasons. And I had mentioned that, Goliath only got 3 seasons. Well, last Friday, I opened up Amazon and apparently there's a 4th season. So I started about 6 p.m. when I got done with work. I watched the first episode. And then about 1 o'clock in the morning, I finished season 4.
Mm-hmm.
And all I got to say, this season was weird. They did a good job of wrapping up the show because it was the final season. But the only thing the only selling way I think you need to sell this is, have you ever wanted to see J.K. Simmons in a over-the-top musical arrangement or production? Singing and dancing with sets and like 100 different dancers. If the answer is yes, then you need to watch season 4 of Goliath. I won't really go into the details other than I found it very predictable, partly because of me. And then partly because of what I've learned about the characters through the past 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still enjoyable. So, yeah, Goliath season 4, final season. It's out there. And then also everybody needs to go out and watch Dirty Work. That movie is still great. There's so many people in that movie, including a commercial with dead hookers in the trunk. And which it's still hilarious. So go do that. Go out, watch Dirty Work. Thank me later. Another thing you can thank me later for is the fact that this show is live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, here on YouTube. And you can get all of the past episodes for free on the YouTube. If you would prefer an audio version, you can get them from any audio podcast provider. We don't care where. We don't care how. Just don't that guy on the corner that's going to charge you $20 to download the episode for you. Yeah, don't get it from him. Go to a reputable podcast app. But other than that, yeah, we're here every Wednesday. If you're a patron, you get the audio version faster, like here in a couple hours faster. But on that note, should we get on to the post show, guys? Choose some titles.
I suppose.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. And if you are not here live, you don't get to participate in the post show. Sorry. Join us live. All right.
Bye.
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 Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Oh, I need to.
Recording stopped.
Yay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, if you are still here and you would like to make your voices heard, you should go ahead and go to tvs.showbot.tv and see a huge list of titles. And you can go in there and you can pick on them and vote on them and make sure that the ones that you think are the best titles are the ones that we're going to actually use for the show today. So,
All right. So
here's the titles that we have so far, and we have a lot actually. Peacock Schmeacock. NBC's other name is Comcast. Apple and Costello. All praise the great Carmack. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to give that.
So Carmack was the guy that made Doom and Quake?
Yeah,
okay.
He's ID basically. He's the head programmer for ID software.
Right.
Back in
I
the day.
didn't recognize the name when you first started talking about him.
Oh, he is a genius when it comes to making that stuff super efficient, and so that's his thing. And so tactical controllers, they like brass knuckle controllers. I think that's a good idea. Skype in color. Alexa's angsty phase. Sorry, Alexa. Driving Miss Dory. Don't get driving directions from Dora. And you
Dora? She'd give it to you in a riddle.
That's what I thought you said.
But she would have a map, so she'd be able to give you good directions.
Can you say left? Can you say left?
And if you haven't watched the Dora movie,
I see it.
That movie was awesome.
It had a genuine moment of, oh, that was good.
It had a lot of moments of that.
I had a couple of them, but there was a couple that were really good. That's what you said, though, is don't get driving directions from Dora. Isn't that
no,
what
I
you
said Dory.
Oh,
from
Dory.
Finding Dory.
Oh,
because she doesn't know directions.
Exactly. And you should adopt her about your Echo Spot. Probably you should see a doctor.
I left up the C.
You should see a doctor about your Echo Spot.
I think I was laughing so hard about it where I couldn't remember to type the C.
Anyways, feel free and find your favorite titles. Give them a click to give them a vote, and we'll come back in a little bit and pick the ones that we think are the worthiest of votes.
It's not letting me vote more than once on certain items.
I'm so sorry. That's the system. It doesn't let you do that. Open a different browser. It might let you do.
Shh, don't tell him the tricks. There's it's okay. I don't have 5 different browsers installed on my computer.
Well, by default, you have Internet Explorer and Edge. Very likely you have a Chrome browser of some kind. Mm-hmm. And I know you're a Firefox guy. So what's number 5?
Sometimes there's an Opera.
Oh, really? You do an Opera? Cool. Opera's good.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you that they still had Internet Explorer.
They can't get rid of it. They can't get rid of it. Nope. Too many things depend on Internet Explorer.
My boss the other day was complaining about something, and I said, he's like, nope, I am not getting rid of my Internet Explorer. I was like, all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
get him a Chromebook.
No. He's technical. I mean, he used to do what I do.
All right, fair enough.
It's just he has his Internet Explorer set up in the way that he wants with his bookmarks and his stuff, and he is not. He will. If anybody tries to take it away from him, he will probably cut them.
No. The problem with Internet Explorer isn't that it wasn't necessarily a bad browser. I mean, Internet Explorer 11 was a decent browser, but before they went to Edge, so they kept keeping it up to date.
It's just ancient, and it's a relic, and that's the thing.
But now, from this point on, since they're never going to update it, eventually it will stop being able to access websites correctly. At which point, your poor boss is going to have to move on and start using something else. Yeah. So he'll just move to Edge. That's what he'll do.
That's what I was trying to get him to do.
No, it'll happen naturally, sir.
Yeah, Explorer. I used to like it when they had it for Mac. That was a pretty good browser back then.
Exploder.
That was back in like Internet Explorer 3.0 days, and that was the good times. Internet
It's the
Explorer 3.0.
one
was
thing
decent.
where Ford and Microsoft collaborated.
The Sync, the Microsoft
No,
Sync, I think
no,
it's called?
Explorer.
Oh,
Ford has their version of the Explorer. It looks nothing like the browser.
No, but no, there was actually.
I think it predates the Microsoft version, but yes.
Yeah, it does. That's all right. No, I remember when there was Safari for Windows, and actually I liked that decently. It was okay. It was WebKit, so it was just basically a Qt based browser, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But they had to get rid of that too, man. Stupid people thinking that their siloed stuff makes them more popular. Stupid that it probably works. That's okay. Now I want to play some Stadia games because on my TV I want to try it out with
Fire up the
controller.
Chromecast and I can't. I don't like calling it a Chromecast. So it's not the Google TV with Chrome.
The Sabrina. Just call it the Sabrina.
I freaking hate it.
It's what we call it. It's just the Sabrina. It's what it is. Until they come out with the next model and give it a name that is worse, because that's Google. Google, I like you a lot. I really want you to be good in many ways, but you suck at some things.
Yeah, they've completely broken Chrome with that whole acceleration thing. Because like it's been the last two movie parties have run into the problem where Discord, you can't share this Chrome screen because the acceleration. So you have to turn off acceleration in the browser. But once I do that and I reload the browser, then the browser just won't work. And
but wait a second, you have to disable acceleration to share your screen?
To share Chrome. So like what I don't use Chrome as my primary. So I have Chrome on my computer because I use it as secondary stuff.
Right.
So like during movie party, I will put the video that we're going to watch in the Chrome browser on my other monitor, and then I will share that browser through Discord. But something changed a couple months ago.
Okay.
Either an update to Chrome or an update to how Discord shares, and you can't, if you try to share a Chrome browser that has acceleration enabled, you just get a black screen on Discord, and you have to turn off acceleration. But I have the problem that if I disable acceleration, then Chrome just basically melts into a unusable mass of crap. And so I don't like it.
Yeah,
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, this good streaming software should be able to do it just fine, but we're talking about the Discord's built-in streaming software, so I'm not certain. Looking online, looks like there's some people who have been trying to deal with this, and one of the things they say is disabling the acceleration.
Exactly, and it. But like I said, when I do that, then Chrome becomes broken, and then I have to basically force it into a recovery mode so that I can even get to any settings. Because once I turn off acceleration, when you reload Chrome, it just comes up as a completely white screen that doesn't let me do anything. It just completely breaks Chrome.
Apparently, there's an option in Discord, in the settings that's currently set to use our latest technology to capture your screen. You can turn that off, and sometimes that helps. And also, you can stream the Chrome browser as a game, and that also can help too. So, I mean, there's a couple things you can try.
I will just go with the easier solution to not use Chrome at all. And then just drag one of my Firefox tabs over to my other monitor. And then and the only reason I don't like doing that is because the browser launches on the monitor where the last tab was closed. So if I don't remember to close that one tab that I dragged over to the other monitor first, when I open Firefox, it will launch on the wrong window or on the wrong monitor, and that just irritates me because of workflow. So that's the only reason.
Yep. Oh well, that's all right.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Do we have a title selection?
It sounds like all praise the great Carmack.
Really? Excellent. I think we should praise the great Carmack. He is
What was
awesome.
the Johnny Carson character?
He was Karnav. Karnav?
Carnac.
Carmack.
Karnak.
It was Carmack.
Yes.
Right.
He was
Yeah.
M. It was an N instead of M. That's why I was confused because I thought you were talking about Karnak.
Nope, not even aware of that reference.
Yeah, it's where he used to do the mind reading.
That was the
thing
one
with
where he would
envelopes.
read the envelope and he would tell the punchline, and then he would open it up and it would
Heard
there
the
would
joke.
be the rest of the joke or something, whatever.
Carmack the Magnificent.
There it
Thank
is.
you, Wabbit. Yeah.
Good
that,
job.
That was it.
That's why we keep Wabbit around.
Oh, is that the reason? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a treasure trove of knowledge.
We love you, Wabbit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
Anything else?
no, that's it for me, guys. I'm petering out. a little
Okay,
here.
I'm gonna go ahead and copy
Yeah.
this.
And I don't even
put
know
in
Peter in the
doc.
room.
Oh, speaking of Peter,
Paul and Mary.
Family Guy's back.
Oh, already? I thought they canceled that show.
Canceled it like 20 years ago, and then it came back a couple years later.
What show am I thinking that just finally got canceled? I don't remember.
I don't know. Simpsons. I watched the first episode of Simpsons season 33, and I realized I've watched 32 seasons of The Simpsons.
Okay. Which one did you miss?
No, this was episode 1 of 33.
Just started.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Pardon me.
And I gotta say, it was good.
Yeah.
It's still good. Yeah, I don't know what got canceled.
Speaking of Family Guy, I come across this YouTube video, I don't know, last weekend or maybe the weekend before. But Seth MacFarlane, he was on some British talk show.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it was talking about Family Guy, and it wasn't a recent show either. This was like, maybe 5 years ago or something like that. But they were talking to him about Family Guy and like how he comes up with the voices. And of course, he would do some of the voices as he usually does when he goes on talk shows. And somehow or another, they got to talking about, well, what kind of voices do you do? And then he's like, oh, well, I can do, Kermit the Frog too, right? So then he goes into this spill. You remember the movie with Liam Neeson in it, right?
Where he fights the wolves?
No, not that one. It's the
Where
one
they stole his family?
They stole his daughter, right?
Taken.
What was that? Taken, right? And the one thing where he's on the phone with the guy, right? And he gives that speech, hey, I've got a particular set of skills, right? So he goes through the whole entire speech with Kermit the Frog voice, right? So it was pretty funny. So if
you don't know me.
if you haven't seen that one, you should search
How-
it and,
How many times do your relatives have to be taken before you realize that you're just a really terrible person?
Apparently 4. Is that where we're at now? 4
Yeah.
times?
Maybe the problem is you.
It's possible.
Yeah, they keep saying the Orville is coming out soon, and they've been saying that for 2 years. So we'll see. Although I am bummed because one of my favorite characters on the Orville will have to be recast
Oh.
because he was voiced by Norm Macdonald.
Oh yeah.
The goo guy, Yaphet, that like slimy goo monster that was obnoxious because that's what Norm Macdonald was good at. Yeah, again, I'll believe it when it actually premieres. But I'm looking forward to it. That's the first Star Trek that I've ever really cared about. So, all right.
That was a good show.
On that note, we'll go ahead and shut this down. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We will catch you all later.